FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
I don't think the media covered itself in glory with respect to the way Hillary Clinton was covered. Obviously that never applies equally to every reporter covering, or even every network in this case. I think some were more guilty. You may have noticed that a preponderance of the clips in that video we just saw came from MSNBC. And I think that there was, abundant examples on that network in particular of conversations about her that were would never have been tolerated of people, say, an African-American candidate, Barack Obama. And I think it's always a little bit of a trap to try to compare racism and sexism, and I don't think we should get, you want to try to avoid that on some level because they're both bad and they should both be eradicated, but it does make for an interesting comparison. So I think the media was, here are the ways in which I think the media was unfair to her. One was just the assumptions. For example, when Barack Obama said early on that he would negotiate with the leaders of Syria, North Korea, Iran without preconditions, I think if Hillary had said that, she would have been drummed out of the race. I think we tolerate certain things from men that we would never tolerate from women. So I think some of the assumptions that underlay the campaign from the beginning were much harder on her. I think she had to work much harder to prove she was tough enough to be commander-in-chief. She did that, but again, at pretty great expense. And then there were other examples of the language. We saw great examples of the language that we can use in talking about women. And the example that jumped out at me so sharply was in what we tolerate in the culture more broadly, but in the media as well, was when John McCain in the fall was at a town hall meeting, and a woman stood up at the town hall meeting and said of Hillary, "How do we beat the bitch?" To which John McCain said, "That's a good question." Flash forward to a few months later where John McCain was on his way to a rally and a talk show host was there warming up the crowd and saying things about Senator Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, and things that were dripping with innuendo. And Senator McCain did the right thing in that case. He disavowed the guy, said that has no role in my campaign. So for one, there's absolutely no penalty. No one really talked much about McCain's interaction with this woman at the town hall. And for the other, there's an immediate reaction and directed effort to get this guy disassociated from his campaign. So I think in the underlying assumptions, the language that was used, and the events that drew attention, there was a double standard that I think is pretty obvious.